What's going on, everyone? It's another Friday update, and it was certainly a productive week going into the new year. I really hope everyone, as you're kind of getting that sprint that extra burst of energy that we have at the beginning of the year, focus on sustainability, focus on consistency instead of working yourself to death, setting unrealistic goals, putting so much pressure on yourself and so much lack of sleep that you're almost destined for burnout, or to only keep up these crazy pace that you've set for a few weeks and then not work for another month because you're just so exhausted because you just drove yourself into the ground. So in this new year, focus on sustainability, focus on consistency. It's better to make 5 cold calls every single day for an entire year than to just blast through one crazy month and then not make any the rest of the year. I've done both. I know how both cycles work, and I can tell you that consistency and just small daily action, time blocking, and just planning to eat that frog first thing in the morning eat the frog. I mean, like, do the hard thing, do the thing you don't necessarily want to do. That's how you create a good habit. You do it every single day. You don't put it off, and again, that consistency. This was a really good week. I focused a lot on. I guess there's a few other points that I would like to add. A lot of us, and especially me, like, we have this desire to work more than probably the average person. Like, I would say, like, average on a typical week probably work 60-ish hours. This week I've got to the office every day at 6 to 6:30 and been there until 6 to 6:30 at night, and then there's been 2 nights where I've actually gone back after my workout. So actually true, no exaggeration, like true 15, 16-hour days, and got a full day lined up for tomorrow as well. So I'm actually on pace this week for probably 100 hours. The difference between me now, though, and me 2 years ago is 2 years ago I would try to keep up this pace when I know that this is not sustainable. Like, 60 hours is sustainable for me. Sometimes I can push up to 70, but then I need to you really scale back to 60 or maybe 50 the week after. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you're increasing hours, when you're making a big push, if you're doing a sprint, that's okay, but realize that you're in a season of that sprint. Like, don't just think that you can just set some new pace and go from working 40 hours to 80 hours through 1 week just from a burst of motivation, and you're gonna be able to sustain that, because it's not gonna happen. If you want to work more, if you have a desire to work more, increase it on a linear pattern like this, maybe even like this, instead of just like exponentially, because that's gonna lead to burnout. So if you're working 40, plan to work 45 the next week, and then keep that. If you can do that for a month, then maybe bump it up to 50. Like, that's how you scale up in order to actually be able to sustain 80 hours a week and still have a social life outside of work, and not just feel like you have no energy because you're putting it all into work. So I think there is a secret to working a lot and still having a social life and still having a life outside of work, versus working that same exact amount but then being so burnt out that you never have time to socialize, or just feel kind of like you're just exhausted after work. But there's a balance there. But again, it comes from consistency and a linear pattern, not an exponential. This week was a really good week for me personally. It was for our team as well. We had one little setback with some homes getting canceled, which is kind of rare. But this was a really weird deal. I'll kind of fill everybody in a few weeks when the issue is resolved. It's something I've actually never heard of, and it wasn't our fault. Wasn't even really the seller's fault. Just kind of a weird deal. But so that was a little minor setback. But this week on making sure that every single thing that I'm doing and that our employees are doing is either revenue generating and it's paying for their time, or it is easily quantifiable in the amount of time that it's saving myself, Ryan, or Sam. If it's not revenue generating or easily quantifiable on time saving the 3 partners, we shouldn't be doing it. And I think it's easy to kind of get this creep that begins to happen with employees, to the point where 90% of their time, and that's an exaggeration, but a large portion of their time is spent doing things that if you're doing things that just honestly don't need to be done. And whenever you're passing something off, of course, the order is always eliminate, automate, and then delegate. And I think a lot of times people forget that the eliminate is even an option, or they just go straight to delegating, and then you've got employees doing a bunch of things that aren't really adding any value, aren't really saving you any time, because at the end of the day, they just don't need to be done. I'm outside of Dust Bowl right now. We've actually got our company Christmas party tonight, which is going to be a ton of fun, getting to spend some time with the team outside of work. And we had the treat last week, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, going to go in strong to the next week and work on our goal of 170 houses. And we have some other goals, but I still don't feel comfortable saying, because I don't feel like they're fully settled. And I don't want to say something unless, I'm going to give it everything and actually pursue that goal. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope everyone has a good weekend, and I'll be back on Monday with another video.